inside and be part of the broadcast, who was going to MC outside.
Yeah.
Not that I'm irreplaceable. I'm by far irreplaceable. But, who is going to put in the professionalism and have the flexibility and get into it like this guy does. And so I am going to find out his name so we can make sure we can credit him and his company.
Sure.
And he basically, he took on that role and has been so good at it. Probably if we stopped doing the live stream, I wouldn't be able to get that responsibility back. He does such a good job.
Well,
so.
we found a new role for you.
Yeah, and this, we're not going anywhere with the live stream. It's
No.
staying. So it's one of those things. Once we've started and as successful as we've been told it is, we want to keep going. That's Bill Harris. Looks like he's waving down to the crowd, and that's Mark Harris on the left. Again, these guys are both with Newcastle County Fire Service. We just talked to Rich Perillo, and we were talking about this relationship, the new relationship with Newcastle County Fire Service becoming the third of three sponsors, TD Bank and Brandywine Realty Trust being the other sponsors of this event. So here they come. You can hear the MC in the background a little bit. And both times, first-timers, as you hear them say. And we'll see.
Let him talk a little bit.
Yeah,
Right?
we'll see whether they come down together like some people have done or whether they just both go at their own pace. And Jimmy, having done this once, and if I were to do it again and go down with somebody, my wife's already taken her name off that list, but if I were to go down with somebody else, like, say, you, I'm not sure, and you're nodding your head no, I'm not sure if I'd want to pace myself. Like, I think I'd want to be on my own pace.
I don't want you to be mad at me in this hypothetical situation because I'm not doing what you're doing.
And so, I don't think I'd want somebody. I wouldn't want to feel like I got to either keep up with somebody or hold back. Because when I was coming down yesterday, once I got going, I was ready to get down.
Yeah.
And not really get it over with, but to feel that sense of accomplishment. And all I could think, and it was a little bit further past this point where you see Bill is at, that I wasn't quite halfway, but I was getting close to halfway, that I was thinking to myself, all right, I got a good pace. I want to just keep going because I don't want to lock up. I don't want to, pull my lever too hard and have to re-engage it. The things that can go wrong that's perfectly normal that go wrong and are easily fixable. I just wanted to keep moving. I wanted to keep going. And as you can see, Bill and Mark kind of have separated themselves, Bill going a little bit quicker than Mark. I don't think I'd want to have to stop and wait. And maybe that's selfish of me, but having gone through this, that's just my feeling.
Your time, too. I mean, I think, if I do this with my wife, I think that, like, she'd want to hold hands or something, and we'd have to go down at the same time. and I don't know that I'd want to do that. You know what I mean? I think that I would figure it out and be very cocky and then try to, like, run down or something.
And lock up 100
like
times,
Absolutely.
And your wife would be at the bottom waiting for you.
So,
has she sent you a text message saying she signed up for next year yet?
No, I don't. No, there's definitely not any way. I think that her best bet, or the best bet, is if it's some sort of mandatory work thing that, like, Sean Green gets her to do. Is my wife's reporter anchor for WDEL, Shanna O'Malley. And so, maybe there's something that Chris Carl or Amy Cherry can, impose on her. But, luckily for me, I don't have any of those kind of exterior forces, really, other than yourself. And I've said no to you a couple times. And Ruth and Ann and everybody else that's asked.
No, and we do respect that. We joke about it, but we do respect it. Some people just don't have no interest in doing it. And
I could have done it yesterday. Yesterday for me was not a fun day. It was very busy, and there were a lot of things I wanted to make sure were right here. And then today, I just want to make sure that this is done the right way.
Yeah.
And that's not a cop-out. I mean, I could have probably maybe taken a longer lunch yesterday or something. But, and I'm getting closer. I think the more I'm around and the more I see it, the more I'm like, you know what, maybe.
Yeah, it is, and it is one of those things that you see Bill and Mark Harris landing both for the first time. It is one of those things. I'm glad I did, and I was going to be fine if I didn't get to do it this year.
Yeah.
Every year, one member of the Special Olympics Delaware staff, other than the first year, 2 people did it. Since then, every year, one person has done it. And this year, I volunteered to do it and wanted to do it, and I'm glad I did it. But that being said, I wasn't one of these people, I can't wait to do this thing.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I just can't wait to do it. I can, and I can honestly say I don't think anybody in our office that has done it has been in that situation. None of us were forced to do it, obviously. We're all glad we did it. But again, it was one of those things that, this type of thing, I think you either really, really want to do it. You're one of those extreme persons like that Jeff guy who did the skydiving back in September. Or you're the complete opposite like Danny Hall, who we just had in here, who only does it because of the cause and the mission of Special Olympics. Or you're somewhere in between, which is where I'm at. I'll be honest with you. I don't think if I didn't work for Special Olympics, I'm not sure I would do this event because I had no great desire to do it. I wasn't scared to do it, but I had no great desire to do it. But yet I'm glad that I did it. And I think people fall into one of those three categories.
Yeah, and somebody puts up $1,100 for me to do it. It's really I'm handcuffed. I think it's that's a lot of money, and I respect that amount of money, and I probably would need to respect the wishes, and so
those of you out there,
I think
has $1,100.
I think that's what I'm saying.
Hashtag Over the Edge DE.
That's
Let
right.
us know where we can contact you, and we'll get Jimmy signed up for next year. Speaking of next year, if you're out there and you really do want to sign up for next year, go to the SODE.org website, and you can click on Sign Up for 2016. It's a $50 deposit that goes toward your total of $1,100, and then you are able to go ahead and start your fundraising at that point and begin the process to raise the $1,100 that we require for you to go down for Special Olympics.
That is Chip Thompson as we get our first look at another one of the Newcastle County Fire Service members joining his brethren, the Harris brothers.
Yes, is that what they are, brothers? And so a great job by them going down for the first time and landing safely and successfully. And they moved at a pretty good pace. And so that was a nice job by them getting down, especially for first-timers. I think any time over the first, when you're going over for the first time, it's you tend to go at a slower pace, but they seem to get down at a much quicker pace as Chip is heading down. And he works for the Delaware City Refinery Department. He is a volunteer firefighter, as we said. And his inspiration is a famous quote that he's tried to live by. A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. He does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the equality of his actions and the integrity of his intent. That a quote from General Douglas MacArthur. He wanted to thank all of his supporters who donated, and a huge thank you to the Newcastle County Volunteer Firemen's Association for their generous donation and support. So he is on the way down.
And they asked him what his favorite song or recording artist was, and normally they try to pair that up with, as he's coming down, as kind of encouragement as he is firing down the building here, working his way down pretty quickly. And it said Metallica, he said, was his favorite, and the DJ's playing Black Eyed Peas.
There you go.
So it's pretty much the same.
Very fitting. So Chip Thompson head down. On deck is Bill Harris. I'm sorry, Bill Harris has gone down.
Correct.
It's Tabitha Harris. Not sure of that relation to the Harris brothers. Samira Ayerd, I think is the pronunciation. Jason Stevenson. Jason, I think, is a 5-timer. Kathleen Strauss and Henry Tomsick, who is a parent of a Special Olympics athlete. So if you've tuned in for any of those folks, they will be on their way down here. We're down to we're just around 15 people left to go, 15 or 16. We did have 4 additional add-ons. I guess they're going to add them on to the end of the day. We haven't been told otherwise, so as not to take the slots of the people that signed up ahead of time. So we most likely will be on the air till about 5 o'clock or so. And so they're heading down there. That's Chip Thompson heading down the side of the building. There's a view from the bottom. Our 2 rope volunteers who have been with us for several years, at least the guy on the right, I know, I recognize him. He's been with us for several years. There's an information tent out there. You see the Special Olympics tent in the background. If you want information, if you're watching this on your phone or other device sitting in the bleachers there and you want more information about Special Olympics, that is where you can pick it up. We thank you for tuning in. This is the Over the Edge broadcast. I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith and the production team that's bringing you all those great shots that you can see. They've been with us off and on throughout the day on different cameras. Nina Raspa, Mike Winley, Andrew Wickman, Sam Schwartz, Kyle Coulter, Richie Raspa, and Aaron Anderson. Just doing a great job here as Chip Thompson, another first-timer, coming down. Because of the sponsorship this year from the Newcastle County Fire Services, we've had more volunteer firefighters than ever participate in this event. Each year they provide volunteers here in different roles, but this year, while we've had others go over the edge in the past, never more than this year, and so we appreciate their support as they come down there for that. So Chip Thompson has landed, and we have not received notice. Looking at our order of names, it should be Tabitha Harris and Samira Aird coming up next, but we have not been given that official notice yet of who is coming down next. So you can see that Chip has landed, gets a high five from the technician at the bottom. I'm not sure. I think there's always a great thrill when you've done this second, third, or fourth time, but I'm not sure it's a greater thrill when you land than that first time when your feet touch the ground and you know that you've accomplished something that for a lot of these people they didn't think they'd ever be able to do, which is rappel 17 stories down to 300 Delaware Avenue building. You can see that's Rich Perillo from the Newcastle City Police Department and also a volunteer firefighter. It looks all those folks in that photo I know are volunteer firefighters with one agency or another, except those two tech guys who are photobombing the photos. So don't forget you can tweet us. Use the hashtag OverTheEdgeDE. We'll read your tweet on the air and get it up on the board. This broadcast is being recorded, and it will be on our internet site. We will send that out once it is. We'll send the link out using the OverTheEdgeDE hashtag, so keep an eye out for that. And that way you can watch your friend or your family member do the event with them. And that's one of the reasons we do that broadcast. We do the recording is because obviously the folks who are going down aren't watching it live on the internet, but it gives them an opportunity to see them do that.
And this is the first time that we've had no activity up at the top, so I don't know if there's a check or not exactly sure.
Yeah, and this can happen for a couple different reasons. They could maybe be doing a rope check. They do rope checks once in a while if they decide they need to for whatever reason. Or it might be that they just want to, there's been a lull in the action downstairs, getting people checked in or going through the things as we talked about. And I think maybe we'll try to go to commercial here while we get a chance. And before we do, I'll explain, this might just be a situation where somebody is taking a little bit longer to go through the training for whatever reason. Somebody maybe arrived a little bit late for whatever reason, those types of things. But safety is the first and foremost thing, and so it very well might be that they're maybe going to do a rope check. We'll try to find out. But in the meantime, we're going to let you learn a little bit more about Special Olympics and why people are rappelling 17 stories down the side of the 300 Delaware Avenue building. This is the live stream coverage of the Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware.
If human achievement can be determined not by speed or strength, but by character, then it's easy to see who the most amazing athletes really are. Be a fan of dignity, acceptance, and the human race. Volunteer, coach, or compete in Special Olympics. Special Olympics. Be a fan. You can use the word competitor. You can call them your friends or an inspiration. A brother, a hero, a mentor, a son, a teammate, a winner, a daughter, an athlete, a classmate, a worker, a runner, a leader, a human being. You can use a lot of words to describe people with intellectual disabilities, but retarded isn't one of them. Let's commit to ban the R word. Special Olympics. Be a fan.
I used to never really talk. Ever. I was scared and shy. It was hard to look at people's faces. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. I made friends and won lots of gold medals. but I learned more than just playing golf. Special Olympics helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Sport teaches us. When we train, it teaches us to dream. When we struggle, it teaches us determination. When we win, it teaches us joy. And if we lose, sport teaches us the will to try again. Sport teaches us who we really are. Who can benefit most from this lesson? Those of us who are told most frequently that we can't. Those of us who are labeled most often by others. Those of us who are judged most unfairly and told that we are this or that. Sport teaches people who they really are, and we teach people sport. We're Special Olympics. Founded by Eunice Kennedy Shriver in 1968, we provide millions of athletes with intellectual disabilities in more than 170 countries the opportunity to experience all the empowering benefits of sport. With over 44,000 competitions a year and World Games every 2 years. And though it all starts with sports, Special Olympics is much more. We're a network of families who share information, understanding, and support. We're Special Olympics Healthy Athletes, the largest provider of free health services for people with intellectual disabilities. We're volunteers and builders of communities, reaching and helping people who would otherwise be forgotten in some of the most neglected areas of the world. We're bridge builders, helping to forge relationships and acceptance between our athletes and young people without intellectual disabilities, teaching them to become leaders in their own right. We're champions and advocates for learning, research, and policy changes across the globe. Most importantly, we're also a catalyst for social change. Because once you see what our athletes are capable of, you start to lose your preconceptions. So sport teaches people who they really are, and we teach people sports. But in the end, it's really they who teach us all. Special Olympics. Be a fan.
You are the stars, and the world is watching you. By your presence, you send a message to every village, every city, every nation. A message of hope, a message of victory.
If human achievement can be determined not by speed or strength, but by character, then it's easy to see who the most amazing athletes really are. Be a fan of dignity, acceptance, and the human race. Volunteer, coach, or compete in Special Olympics. Special Olympics. Be a fan.
You are the stars, and the world is watching you. By your presence, you send a message to every village, every city, every nation. A message of hope, a message of victory.
And welcome back to the live coverage of the Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. Tabitha Harris is on deck to come down. She's at the top of the building. We apologize for the delay. Actually, we don't apologize. We hope you enjoyed the commercials. It was a rope check, and we thought you would enjoy learning a little bit more about Special Olympics than hearing more about my experience going over the edge yesterday, which is what it would have been talking about at that point. There is Tabitha Harris getting ready to go down, and she works at Thurgood Marshall Elementary as a reading interventionist, so one of several teachers who have gone over the edge today. She started Special Olympics when her daughter Tony was 8, and she's now 19. She's a parent of an athlete, and so she also is a unified partner. She bowls with her daughter Tony, and that is a popular thing for folks to do. Mother-daughter, father-son, father-daughter, brother-sister, Special Olympics athlete and unified partner teammates. A unified partner is a peer without a disability, one of the more popular ways for folks to volunteer for Special Olympics. Tabitha also is a volunteer coach for track and field, and her sister Tia got older. She became a unified partner. Her sister meaning Tony's sister, so would be Tabitha's 2 daughters. Became unified partners, and they are teammates. So what a neat way for siblings to be on the same team in Special Olympics. One of them with an intellectual disability and one of them without, a unified partner doing it. And so they were with the Newark Dragons program, one of the 5 areas in Special Olympics. Tabitha, this is going to be her first time going over the edge. She said she's very excited, and she thinks getting over that edge, which she is now doing, is going to be the most nerve-wracking part, but she said she's actually really looking going over. And she said she didn't know if this was a middle-age crisis or just actually losing her mind. She's always wanted to do the polar bear plunge, but can't stand being cold. Well, folks, if you don't want to be cold, the plunge is not the place to be. So, but what better way to support Special Olympics than to go down 222 feet on the side of the building? She's doing it, of course, for her daughter and also all the athletes in Special Olympics. Obviously, she's had a lot of involvement with them in the 11 years that she's been involved as a parent in Special Olympics, but also as a volunteer. She wanted to thank her family and friends who supported her in making it possible for her to go over the edge and help Special Olympics continue doing what they do. So she is going to be joined by that is Jason Stevenson. I know that just because Jason, as I said, is a 5-time rappeller, I believe, from the Georgetown area, and has always done a great job raising money for this cause. So you got Tabitha Harris and Jason Stevenson. He's a member of the Delaware State Police. He's also a powerlifting coach with the Sussex Riptide. He's a torch runner. You've heard us talk about the torch run. He was a final leg runner, and I forget which national or world games he did, but he was able to do that, a final leg runner. That's where you actually go and you take part of a final leg heading into a national or a world games, and so he's had that experience, and of course a longtime volunteer, and this is his 5th year, as I said, and he's looking forward to being one of the few remaining edgers who have done it every year. We've had 2 others today. Marianne Evans was one, and the name escapes me, but I'm going to bother to look it up because he deserves to have his name. Mike Laureano, an employee at TD Bank who I met last night at the cocktail reception. He has done it all 5 years as well. And lots of people to thank. Jason Stevenson did 16 Mile Brewery in Georgetown, Pizza King, Fat But Daddy's Barbecue, Mr. Barbecue, Quillen Signs, Delaware State Parks, and everyone else who donated items for their silent auction fundraiser. It's something that Jason has done. He's come up with unique ways to raise money over the years. And so that is Jason Stevenson coming down along with Tabitha Harris making her way. Tale of 2 cities, so to speak. Tabitha making her first, Jason making his 5th. That is Tabitha on the right, Jason on the left, coming down. A veteran over the edger for Special Olympics Delaware. So here they come. We're in the home stretch, as we like to say, of today's broadcast, with probably about 15 people left to go. Jason is actually the 70th person to go down today. We've got 85 signed up. And so we are in the home stretch, and we plan to bring you the broadcast, the final hour of what's going to end up being an 8-hour broadcast with hopefully as much excitement and passion as we did the first hour. This truly has been a fun event. And, Jimmy, we talked about this last year. The day, when you think about it, it really has gone by fast. We're in our 7th hour on the broadcast here.
Yeah, I'm running out of steam. I don't know about you, but yeah, I'm excited. This has been really, technically smooth on our end, and I think technically smooth on your guys' end. And this all around has been fantastic. Again, you can interact with us using #OverTheEdgeDE. We can show your tweets live here on the broadcast. We are approaching 3,800 viewers in the last 2 years, and I'll give you the exact number for what it is. I'm drawing my words out so it buys me time. What it is today, we've had, come on, Internet. Help me out here, Internet. There we go. Almost 1,700 people log in just today.
Wow.
So,
impressive.
Things are great, and thank you to everybody that's tuned in. I'm glad we could bring this service to everybody that can watch in. We've gotten some great tweets, some great posts. Go Tabitha Harris, way to represent the Newark Dragons. As BL Smith 800 tweets at us again about Over the Edge DE.
There you go. So tweet us, like Jimmy said, #OverTheEdgeDE. Let us know your tweets. The recording of this live stream is going to be available on the website. We will send that out by Twitter and Facebook using the #OverTheEdgeDE once it is up and live. And it'll be an opportunity for not only the edgers to watch themselves come down the building, but it's a perfect time for them to be able to sit with family and friends as they watch it and talk about the experience, what was going through their mind at this particular moment. There's Tabitha spinning around a little. Looks like she's almost horizontal or parallel to the ground in a horizontal position, and making her way down there. Jason, a 5-time edger on the left, zipped by her and got down there. But it's not a rush. There's not a race. Nobody's ever in a rush. The average time to come down usually is 7 to 10 minutes. Some people do it much faster. Some do it a little bit slower. My time yesterday was, I think, right in that range of 7 to 10 minutes. As we talked about, there's going to be 85 people who are going to do this at the end of the day. 4 people who either turned on the live stream and said, I want to go do this, or walked by outside and said, I want to go do this, and they stopped and wrote us a check for $1,100, and they're going to be doing it. 48% of the people males, 52% female. So pretty much 50-50 for all intents and purposes. 41% of the 85 people, so just under half, have been edgers before. And so that's, there's 2 things I take into looking at that statistics. One is that there's a good chance that those 41% are going to come back again next year. Everybody we had on this broadcast has said they would do it again. They will do it again, and so we're excited about that from an organization. With the 2 ropes, we cap at 100 people. And so we consider it a sellout at 100 people. That's where we just couldn't do any more than 2 ropes. There is an option to add a third rope if we ever got to that point. We haven't completely discussed the logistics of how that would work and whether it could fit as a third rope on the same side of the building. We don't want to go to the other side of the building because that kind of takes away from the festivity. So that's one of those. I guess it's a problem we hope we someday have to solve, because that would mean we'd have 125 or 130 people going down, which, of course, if you do the math, makes a lot more money. So we'll see if that happens or not. But right now, we're going to enjoy the fact that we have 85 people rappelling for Special Olympics Delaware, an organization that provides 20 sports year-round for 3,700 children and adults with intellectual disabilities. Just a wonderful organization. I've been part of it for 26 years, and I can honestly say there's not a day I don't go to work where it's rewarding to know that no matter what I'm doing, and I don't coach the athletes directly, but no matter what I'm doing, somehow for all of the staff at Special Olympics Delaware, no matter what we do, it somehow impacts the athletes, whether directly or indirectly, and it really is very satisfying. And I can't imagine what it's like for the volunteers, because that's a completely different situation. Although I love my job, I do get paid to do it. If you're a volunteer for an organization, you've got to really love and have a passion for it. And we hear the stories, and it just is exhilarating to see that happen. We're got somebody else here ready to go.
I think that's Samira. I saw an S at the beginning of the name tag.
Yep, and that would make sense. Samira Ayerd from Bank of America. Here comes Corinne. She's going to have the report for us. I don't know what I did with the paper that she's supposed to write them on.
Start a new one.
Yeah, here.
There it is. On the blue rope. Samira's on there. And on the yellow, it will be Kathleen Strauss. So there's a look at Samira. And panning our way over to, there's Kathleen, who's got the eyes closed and just extended the legs. Having some internal dialogue right now with herself. As this is some raw stuff right here, John. Having some internal dialogue.
Whatever works at that point. Whatever works. There it looks like she is getting herself situated. She's up on that building, ready to go over. There's a young gentleman there. Looks like a fan, ready to come down. And so there she's getting ready to get situated right there. And there's that view.
That shot. I love that
view you like.
Artistically, obviously,
right.
For me, that's great. And, because you see 95 there, it just kind of gives you a feeling of height and depth there. And that's, I think, really cool. But
yeah, and that's until you see it in pictures, if you're not up there, and our camera people, our volunteer camera people and your camera people are doing a great job of getting the angles that really give the viewers the appreciation of just how high up 17 stories is, as much as you can. And you can see she's down in that squatted position. And this is where they tell you to put your legs straight out, and it's hard to do. It's hard to do, and when it's natural to keep them bent because you got to walk. And there she goes, yep. Samira Ayerd.
And I know that Kathleen over here was having some fun, but it looks to be intense and focused.
Both Samira and Kathleen work for Bank of America. And Samira is one of those ones that's scared of heights. And so she's looking forward to reaching the bottom. And she did, seemed a little trepid there at the start, but I've seen a lot of people, second and third timers, who have seen trepid as well. And you can see Samira there. She's beyond that ledge, and I think she's probably waiting for her colleague, Kathleen Strauss, also works for Bank of America. And Kathleen wanted us to make sure that we let everybody know that she is filling in for David Booth, who was the one who raised more than $2,000 to enable her to come over. And they're both first-timers, and Kathleen is looking forward to feeling every ounce of blood pumping through her alive, and she put that in capital letters, body. It's funny what some of these people write before they go down. It'd be interesting if we could talk to them as they were going down. That would be to hear their thoughts as they go down. Samira wanted to thank her family, friends, and colleagues who supported her in watching her rappel, and a special call-out to her 9-year-old daughter who is watching her. Now, not sure if Sophie, who is her daughter, is watching her live on this broadcast. If she is, hi, Sophie. Thanks for tuning in. If not, my guess is we will see Sophie on a ground shot at some point as Samira and Katie make their way down. If you're just tuning in, this is the live broadcast of the Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith. We are in our 7th hour of broadcasting. 7.5 hours we have been on the air, and it's been a pleasure to bring you this action. We hope if you've been with us the entire time, you've enjoyed the variety of folks and interviews we've done, or if you've just been tuning in to see specific people, we hope we've provided you with enough information about what's going on here. It's a great time to thank our sponsors, TD Bank, Brandywine Realty Trust, and Newcastle County Fire Services, and all the volunteers who came out. This is like any fundraising event. You can't do it with the volunteer supports. And, of course, thanks to Jimmy Smith and his crew of camera folks who have done just a super job, and the people here in the production. They've been rotating around. Nina Raspa, Mike Windley, Andrew Wickman, Sam Schwartz, Kyle Coulter, Richie Raspa, and Aaron Anderson, who have helped bring this live to you. And again, this will be recorded and put on the internet where you'll be able to watch a friend or family member go over. If you're just tuning in now, and whoever you tuned in to see it was scheduled a while ago and you missed it, be sure to check back on the Special Olympics website. We'll have the recording up and live, sort of like a podcast, in the next several days. And so there you can see Samira. She was a little nervous coming down. You can see the smile at the end as she's reached that last step over the edge and is on her way down. On deck will be Henry Tomsick, Lori Abelman, Thomas Wyatt, and Nina Vira in some order, but they are the next 4 scheduled. You can see a sigh of relief there as Samira makes the landing, and Kathleen Strauss is not far behind 2 first-time rappellers. As we mentioned, 41% of the folks who went down of the 85 are veterans, so that means 59% of them are not. And we're too far into the broadcast, 7.5 hours for me to figure out that math, so I'll just let folks who are really interested in the exact numbers figure that out on their own. But a little more than half of the people that went down today, first-timers, and Samira there, a perfect example of that feeling of gratitude, or relief, I should say, when you get to the bottom, and there is Kathleen along with her.
I want to thank Jen Hall. She's on the social stream on the Ustream page there. She said, great job with the broadcast today, gentlemen. So thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen. Jen is she is Danny Hall's wife. We talked about her briefly. Obviously, we talked about her when she went down earlier with a colleague from the Smyrna School District, Whitney Reed Pearson, but we also talked about her when Dan came down and came in to interview. Dan, of course, was the 4-time rappeller, has raised money all 5 years. We mentioned gave up his spot for one of our interns last year to be able to rappel, something she had always wanted to do. Jen and Danny did the event together 2 years ago, and Jen has come back year 3. She's done it. This was her 3rd year, I believe, Danny said, and we appreciate all of the support Jen gives Danny to be involved in Special Olympics, because like any organization, anytime somebody of a couple gives a lot of time, it's because of the generosity of the other person in that couple allowing them to do so. And Jen actually has started a Special Olympics team at Smyrna Middle School. They participated in our basketball event last year, and I know she's continuing to try to grow that program. Next up is going to be Henry Tomsick and Thomas Wyatt. We just got notice of that, so it'll be Henry Tomsick, a Special Olympics parent, and Thomas Wyatt, who is with ATA Martial Arts. They will be our next 2 up, and it will be number 73 and 74. And other than their places of employment and the fact that Henry is a Special Olympics parent, we don't have any other information on them to give you, but we will enjoy watching them come down the side of the building. I can tell you that Henry Tomsick is a 4th-year edger, so he's one of these guys who keeps coming back year after year. Thomas Wyatt is part of that 49%, 59%, I should say, who are doing it for the first time. As you see, Samira, I assume that's Sophie, who she mentioned on the outline that we gave her 9-year-old daughter. Who is here, and you can see Samira kind of breathing a sigh of relief. And, it's always funny to see the children's reaction when the parents come down.
I didn't think you could do that.
My son Tyler, anybody listening who knows my son Tyler, had a million questions for me. Everything from, how can I get up on the roof, Daddy, to how old do I have to be to hold the rope at the bottom? And so it's always interesting to me to see the kids' reaction and the people that come to support you. We have a lot of edgers, their parents come. We had Jen Bonham, whose parents drove all the way from Blacksburg, Virginia, to watch their daughter come down. When they could have stayed home and watched it live on the internet, but you want that support. And then as great a job as we are doing producing it, or you are doing producing, I'm not doing anything but talking. The fact is that if you're here live, it's obviously very exciting. Right. You get to see that, and you get to see somebody you know and care about doing it. And this is Henry Tomczyk, and you can hear the DJ in the background. And I did find the name of that. It's the Great American Party, and they have been doing this for several years for us. I mentioned what a great job they do, and when we made the transition to the live broadcast, the live internet stream, and I moved into the building instead of emceeing outside, one of our main concerns was who would do the emceeing outside, and we turned it over to the Great American Party, and they've just done a fabulous job. They do a great job making sure the people coming down the building are getting the recognition they deserve, playing the songs that they've requested to come down, and also providing a party atmosphere. But you know what? That's what DJs do, and they do it best, and they've done a great job, so we appreciate that.
And I think, we're experiencing it now in the second year doing this. It's hard to keep it up for 8 hours and keep it exciting and keep it fun when the thing that's happening for 8 hours, is somebody coming down the side of a building, and you don't want them to come too fast and they come too slow, and sometimes it sounds full and fun out there, and I think that speaks volume of the support, and I think it's fantastic, the atmosphere out there, because that's going to create that walk up, that's going to create that word of mouth or that site marketing that you want, and we've had already, the 4 successful walk-ups, and we'll luckily see them here in a little bit. But that's what it's all about, that atmosphere, that DJ, keeping it fun.
Henry Tomczyk's son, Ziggy, they call him. He's one of our athletes, one of many athletes who participate in several events throughout the year. And it's one of those things that they, our athletes, most of them who are active in Special Olympics, they usually participate in our fall festival where the sports are bocce and volleyball and flag football and a couple other, I can't think off the top of my head. And then we roll into bowling, and then we roll into basketball, and that's Thomas Wyatt. Go ahead.
Look what he's wearing. He's a part of ATA martial arts. He's got his martial arts garb on.
There you go. As Henry Tomczyk makes the final descension there. So martial arts guy coming down. We haven't seen that. Today we saw Flat Stanley. Yeah. We saw a Captain somebody who was Captain America.
Yeah, Captain somebody.
And we saw the Titus Sports.
They were everywhere. Kayla's a marketing genius.
She is.
She actually worked with the marketing department at Delaware, oddly enough, with Christy Fletcher and those in my department as well. So worked with Kayla before.
Kayla's one of those people you knew when she graduated she was going to be successful. It was just going to be where she was going to be successful at.
Right.
Right now at Titus Sports Academy, and of course they had girls coach at St. Mark's High School.
You want to interact with us, use hashtag OverTheEdgeDE, and you can also get involved on that social stream there on the right of the video player. You can send in a message, a well wish to anybody you wish. And then obviously the tweets we can show live on the broadcast. It's my favorite camera angle right here, that emotion angle. A lot of pictures being taken, a lot of smiles being had.
There's Ziggy, who I was talking about, the father-son moment there. That's Mrs. Tomczyk, family picture. And yeah, I don't think that, I can't imagine that feeling ever changes when you hit the ground. Yeah. Whether you've done it once like I did yesterday or for a 4th time like Henry is doing it today. And exciting for Ziggy. We talk about the children of people who are coming down, and I don't think it matters whether you're 6 years old like my son, 9 years old like Sophie was for Samira a couple minutes ago, or Ziggy. I'm not sure how old he is, but he's obviously an adult. Just as exciting to see your father or your mother land. You can see the Ride to the Tide logo there. Henry Thompson is part of our Ride to the Tide event that happens each spring. If you're interested in any of the fundraising events that we do, just go to our website, sode.org, and you can look under fundraising and see all the different things that we do. A lot of unique events. We do a reindeer run first Friday night in December, which is a nighttime run on the University of Delaware campus. As you see, Thomas Wyatt taking the first steps over. He's going to be joined by Lori Abelman, who's going to be on the right. Once she gets up and gets situated, she'll be the next one down. We do the Polar Bear Plunge, of course, the first Sunday of every February. That itself has its own website, plungede.org. You can already sign up for next year's plunge if you are interested in doing that. In the spring, we have the Ride to the Tide, which I just alluded to. If you're a motorcycle rider or a passenger, come out. We had record numbers this year for the Ride to the Tide. It was just a tremendous outpouring of support. I think, actually, Jimmy, the bad weather leading up to the Ride to the Tide helped, because for a lot of people we were told it was the first time they had their motorcycles out, because let's face it, we had a crummy spring when it comes to weather. I don't know what happened at your house, but I just flipped the thermostat from heat to air conditioning.
There was nothing in between. Not a lot of time of having the windows open.
No,
absolutely.
I was disappointed, because I enjoy, much just like I do in the fall when you go from the air conditioning to the winter, I enjoyed that transition, and it just didn't happen this spring for whatever reason.
I'm not home enough in the fall, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right.
But I hear it's great when the windows are open. But yeah, you're right. The air conditioning's going, and this may be that day where we can leave them open.
Right.
You know, that maybe this is as good as we get, because it's been fantastic, and I know that my crew in the morning brought hoodies and jackets and stuff, and then I saw them all come in at around 10 o'clock as everything came off, and I put mine back on because it's a little cooler in here, and I'm really glad they're pumping the AC in here, because there's a lot of equipment that makes heat,
right?
And it would have made us hot, but it's been a very comfortable day, and we've just been sitting inside the whole time.
Yeah, it's been, it is nice. We are comfortable. I think it was last year when it was either chilly outside or hot. I forget, but I know we were glad to be inside. This year we both agreed it would have been a perfect time to be outside under a tent if it was at all possible, but it's not with the production, the amount of stuff that goes into a production like this. It's just not possible. That's Lori Abelman you're looking at. She works for Franklin and Prokopic. She has no direct affiliation to Special Olympics other than being a supporter. And she's doing it to support the cause and personally to mark pretending to be Spider-Man off her bucket list. So she's one of those ones that is doing this because for the thrill of it. And we talked about that. We've had people in here like Danny Hall, who is very scared of heights. I don't think enjoys the experience. I think he kind of made that clear that he's done it for the fourth time and hasn't really enjoyed it any of the four times, but he has such a true passion for Special Olympics Delaware that he continues to do it. So you've got that end of the scale, and then you've got the other end of the scale like Lori, who really, supports Special Olympics in a very outwardly way in terms of she's not a coach. She doesn't volunteer at our events, but she probably gives money throughout the year at one thing or another and has always wanted to do an event like this, and here she is. That's Thomas Wyatt, of course, from ATA Martial Arts, coming down the building there. Making his way, creeping his way a little bit at a time. That's kind of about the pace I went yesterday. I wanted to keep going. I didn't want to rush because I didn't want to lock up, but I also wanted to get it nice and steady. And once you get going, you can get a nice steady pace. And I referred to the right hand controlling that one rope, where that doesn't do a whole lot. It just kind of gives you a little bit of leverage is what it does. And you can see you can
want
even let go.
something to grab onto, I guess, for
safety, and it's not safety.
Mental safety, really.
Because you nailed it. Because that right hand doesn't do a whole lot other than keep the rope from tangling around your waist. There's some supporters, parents down there. One of your camera guys.
Yeah, a little chuckle I saw there from Sam Schwartz. He's looking at the camera right now. There it is.
Giving us a call
Sam
out.
Sam Schwartz, a graduating senior, worked at WVUD. Joined us this past year, interested in broadcast technology and live streaming. So figured it'd be a good thing to have him out here to join the crew and, just like you, on the radio a lot with WVUD calling some games.
Oh,
so
great. That's Tom Moore there in the white shorts and the polar bear plunge sweatshirt. Tom is a former board president, parent of an athlete. He and his wife very involved in the Newark Dragons area, coaching and on the leadership team. Just big Special Olympics supporters. So he's here to watch and just support because, to the best of my knowledge, there are no Moores heading down the side of a building this afternoon. Tom Moore has done it in the past, I believe. So Thomas Wyatt looks like he's getting ready to land, and Lori Abelman is making her way down on the right, you can see. On deck in some, we're not sure the exact order, will be Nina Vira, Mike Vitale, Ruth Lavelle, and Ted River. And I know Ruth and Ted are both veterans. Mike is doing it for his second year. Ruth and Ted doing it for the fourth year. Nina is a third-year edger, if I'm looking at the blue right there. Mike Vitale raised more than $2,000, so he will have the exclusive video experience like five other folks, I should say. He is the sixth, have had the opportunity to do today. So Thomas Wyatt is either on the ground or almost there. Lori Abelman making her way down again. I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith. There's Thomas. He is still got a few floors to go, it looks like. This is a live stream broadcast of the Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. Send us tweets at OverTheEdgeDE, and we'll mention them on the air and get them on the screen. And so that when the person you're supporting goes back and watches the recording of his or her rappel, they'll be able to know that you were supporting them with a tweet. So thank you for tuning in. If you are interested in more information about Special Olympics, SODE.org is the website. You see that in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, whether it's volunteering, becoming a unified partner, or you just want to make a donation. This event today has inspired you to support Special Olympics with a financial donation. You can do that from the website.
That's right. Here's Thomas coming the rest of the way. We'll have those, it'll probably be in 3 parts, the rebroadcast of this. Had to break it into parts because of technical reasons on the end of where it will ultimately be hosted. Those 3-hour chunks, you'll just kind of see where you want to watch it based on the schedule, and tune on in, kind of skim through, try to find what you're looking for, and have a laugh, or mostly probably have a laugh, I would imagine. As Thomas Wyatt is our first martial artist to land safely on the ground.
Lori Abelman making her way down. She'll be shortly right behind him as Thomas gets all the gear off. Thomas is a first-timer, so he's got to feel good about landing and the experience. Same with Lori Abelman. She had never done this before either. And you can hear the MC outside from the Great American Party saying that Lori is halfway there. A kiss for Thomas there, I assume from his wife. Looks like she might be a Over the Edge volunteer because she's got the volunteer shirt on. Her picture's taken there. Don't know if that's Tom's daughter or not. So we want to thank again Quincy Harris from Good Day Philadelphia on Fox 29. He went over the edge this morning, and it was fun working with Quincy. He was a fun guy to be around. You know, sometimes the media people can be what I call high maintenance, and there was an opportunity for him to come and do this. And I tell you, you would have never known he was with the media and was a somewhat famous person here in the area. But every time I walked with him somewhere, we stopped, and he had to get his picture taken with somebody or sign an autograph. And so we appreciate Quincy taking time out of his work schedule to come and be on the edge. And we appreciate Fox News putting us live on the air this morning. If you saw, we did a live interview at 8:30. They did a couple of check-ins, and then they actually broadcasted his descent live. So we hope we got some followers for this event, and who knows, we may have been able to recruit a couple people to do it next year. We appreciate Fox supporting the coverage of this Over the Edge event. As you can see, Lori making her last few steps. She's probably about 2/3 of the way down, I'm guessing.
Got a tweet from a Lori supporter, Tara MCG16 on Twitter. Go, 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 Lori, go. And then a bunch of exclamation points using the hashtag OverTheEdgeDE. You rock, Lori Abelman, and then a link to the broadcast. So thank you to Tara MCG16 for tuning in. And for the tweet, you are now Twitter famous.
There you go. It is fun when to see your name up there on the screen. It happened to me. I was down at the RBC Heritage Classic Golf Tournament, and I sent a tweet, and it appeared on the screen.
Look at that.
So nobody else cared or saw it but me, but something
For
I can
you,
talk
a
about.
small victory.
Exactly. Wave to the crowd by Lori Abelman. She'll be wrapping up, and Corinne has returned to let us know who our next edgers are going to be. Maybe we'll get Corinne on a headset later and ask her if she's planning to do this next year. So she can start thinking about her
I
answers
believe
now.
Something like that happened last year, right? Your
It did. Yeah, the intern got to do it.
ended
She
up
actually
going
did
on.
it. Yeah,
That
she
was
actually
that Danny
did it
Hall? That was
Danny Hall. Yep,
that
he
was
the
the
one.
trade?
Yep,
Okay.
that was the trade-off. He generously donated his spot. He raised the money and actually came to the event, and then decided when he heard that Katie, our intern at the time, wanted to do it, generously gave that up. So it was actually a lot of fun there to watch Katie do that. Nina Vera is going to be next on the yellow rope, so that'll be on the left screen. We'll let you know who's going to be on the right once they get Lori unhooked. And we're down to within 10 people, I think, even with the 4 that are added.
Yeah.
Going here, so Nina works for Bay Health. She's a registered nurse at Bay Health in Milford. This is going to be her 3rd year going over the edge, so Nina is going to be a veteran, a 3-year veteran coming down. And again, 41% of the people today are veteran edgers. It means they're doing it for either the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or in a few cases, a 5th time. So we appreciate them coming back year after year. I mentioned this earlier in the broadcast, but since most of the people tuning in are doing so, we figure in 30-minute increments most likely.
Yeah.
It's safe to say you probably didn't hear me say that repeat participation rate is extremely high according to the Over the Edge people. They estimated that our repeat rate, as you see Nina getting ready to come down, and I recognize Nina. She's volunteered at our events before as a registered nurse, but the Over the Edge estimates nationally that the repeat rate of people doing an event of this sort is less than 10%. And so the fact that last year we were 30-something%, this year we're 40-something%. Everybody we've had in here into the broadcast room to go on the air has said that they will be back again next year, whether it's for a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th time. And so we hope that repeat rate continues to climb. And yet it's always fun that we've got 59% of the people who are doing it for the first time. And so that always is a big thrill as well. Because there's nothing more fun for us as a broadcast team than to bring in somebody who's just did it for the first time and get the reaction.
Yeah, I think that that kind of excitement in the beginning, maybe it's not when we want to talk to them. At the end, when they do it for the first time, that's definitely the point where we want to hear from them. And so hopefully we'll be having some more people. Look at that. Ask and you shall receive.
All
having
right.
some more people join us.
There they are. Mike Vitale is going to be coming on down. And we're going to give a headset here to somebody that just came in. This is Tabitha. Tabitha, I believe, was a first-timer, and she's here with her daughter. And
Tony.
Who's your daughter, Tony?
Antonia.
I was going to say, I knew the name, and I've gone through so many names today. I apologize.
That's okay.
Losing my mind. Tabitha, what was it like?
It was really, really cool.
You paused there, and I went, uh-oh, it wasn't good.
No, because everybody says, "Oh, you're nervous?" I was like, you know what? I really wasn't nervous.
Really? You
No,
weren't?
I wasn't.
Not at any point?
No,
Yesterday,
I think
this
listening
morning.
to everybody. I
Slept
actually,
okay last night?
Yeah.
I must have had
Yeah, all right.
self-conscious nerves because I got lost getting here.
Oh, right. You don't want to go. You don't want to go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Not
So,
sure where
yeah.
the 300 Delaware Avenue building is.
Yeah, my map. I relied on the map quest, and it took me to a different Delaware Avenue.
Oh, there you go.
So
Probably
that
down the
did it.
wrong one-way street. You've been involved in Special Olympics for 10-plus years, I
Yes,
believe. I think,
yes.
looking at your thing, your daughter has been in Special Olympics. How has Special Olympics impacted her life?
I think it's impacted her life quite a lot. She loves making a lot of new friends. She likes to try new things. Even doing the things that she's scared of, I always kind of try to make her do it at least
Kind of like the over the edge, right? So you went through that today?
Just to let her realize, she's not going to get hurt doing anything.
Right.
And then if she really doesn't like it, we try something different.
There you go. And she does several sports year-round.
Yes.
She's not just a one-sport athlete. You've been her unified partner at one point? Did I
at
read
one
that
point,
somewhere?
and
then now her
sister.
sister is. What, that must be neat for you. I have 3 boys. an older son who's graduated from college with a 6 and an 8-year-old, and at some point they'll probably play on the same team. And until Unified Sports, that really wasn't going to be possible for your two kids. So it must be a great thing as a parent to see your two kids be partners in something, no matter what it is they do.
Yes.
And so that really is a neat experience for them. When you were going through it and up there on the thing, we got our next two edgers.
Nina and Mike Vitale, or Vitale.
Vitale. That's
Vitale.
Vitale.
I had it right.
Yeah, my social studies teacher was Vitale. That's how I know that
Nina
name.
Vera is here, and that's Mike Vitale.
Vitale on the right. So they're coming down, and with us is Tabitha Harris, who just went down for the first time. What was the most nerve-wracking part? You said you weren't nervous leading up to it, but there had to be a nerve-wracking part at some point.
It was making sure I didn't do that.
Push-ups on the building.
Well, just kind of spin around. My thought was I didn't want to get the ropes all tangled.
Now, Mike's a second-year edger. You think you'll come back and do it again?
Oh, I am.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to come back.
Now that you've done it, is there anybody you know who you might convince to come with you?
I told my husband he's going to have to go down with me, so we go down together.
There you go. Perfect. Yes. He can sign up online right now, SOD.org. The next year's registration's already signed up for that. Is your daughter going to summer games?
She is. Softball.
Unified softball. Now, is your other daughter on that team as well?
Well, no, actually, Tony will be doing the traditional. We have two teams.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So we have a unified team and a traditional team.
Gotcha.
So she'll be on the traditional team.
Are you coaching that? I know you've coached
I am the
other
sports
things.
director.
The sports director for softball.
But I will also be playing on the unified team.
So you're intensely involved with that. A few practices left. The weather hasn't cooperated up until recently.
Right.
You guys practice once, twice a week?
Twice a week. We
Wow,
practice on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Oh, that's great. Good.
So
Well, listen, we
everybody's
appreciate
excited.
you. We appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for all you do for Special Olympics. We hope you have a great time at Summer Games. Glad you had a good time going over the edge,
right,
and we look forward to seeing you next year to talk about your second year. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right, so Nina Vera and Mike Vitale continuing to go down here. Mike had a spin and a bump up against the glass there. And
I wonder if that was intentional.
Can we pull up the sign, Aaron? Can we do that? They just turned it away. There you go. Put it up. This I thought was fun. They got a Vitale Land Here sign, and a bunch of them have it. So I thought that was really cool.
That is funny. As we mentioned, Nina is a registered nurse with Bay Health. And Mike works for WISFIS, 500 Delaware Avenue, right down the street. So that might be a case. He's a second-year guy. Might be a case where he saw this and said, geez, why am I not doing that? And here he is doing it. Second time he did it in 2012. Weather's going to be bright, sunny, and dry. It sure is, and he enjoys rappelling. And he's going because he's fortunate enough to be physically able to do it, and he's doing it on behalf of anybody who is not able to do it, whether it's for physical reasons or just doesn't want to do it. He wants to thank the associates at WISFIS Bank. Without their support, this would not be possible. Also his wife, Rosalind, and children, Alexandra and Michael, who are probably at the bottom holding that sign in some sort of fashion. So Mike Vitale heading down for his second year, and again, he raised more than $2,000 and is getting the video done for that. Ruth Lavelle and Ted River, both coming down for their fourth year. They will be next up. Also, Margo Marine, Sarah Jungling, Teresa Meyer, Sharon Moorhead round out the names of the people who have pre-registered at the event. And we have 4 additional folks who will then be going down after that, folks that we call walk-ups, who signed up, decided they saw this, signed up, and wanted to be part of it, and we thank them for doing so. It basically means that they came here and wrote a check for $1,100 to be part of this great event, and we appreciate that. I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith, and we are broadcasting and are getting ready to finish up our 7th hour. So been a long day, but we
7 hours
appreciate it.
and 27 minutes to be exact that we've been on the air.
Fortunately, neither of our voices have given out, knock on wood. One of my biggest fears when I went to bed last night was I would wake up hoarse this morning for whatever reason.
I would have been very upset.
And probably hoarse yourself by the end.
Probably.
So
you're doing a fantastic job of delivering the messaging stuff, the stuff that you know and that's so important to you in your position. And I could just talk about people walking down a building. And that's really where I come in, and on the technical side, and reminding people to tweet using hashtag #OverTheEdgeDE. That's what I do.
Well, we appreciate that. It's a good team here between the two of us. We both got to take a little bit of a lunch break and breaks throughout the day, so it's been a nice help make the time go fast, and it really has gone fast, as you see Nina and Mike making their way. You can tell Mike is kind of just enjoying the ride. Nina's making sure she gets down, although she has done it. This is her third year she's done it, so she's a veteran too. Mike is, I think you would say, horsing around a little bit. You can see him
a couple times,
kicking off the wall and spinning and enjoying it. And we talk about people who have done it. You can see him knocking on windows and waving to people. And so, he's just having a good time, and he should. He raised a lot of money for Special Olympics, and he is comfortable, and he loves to rappel. He said that in the brief bio that we gave him to fill out, and he's going to enjoy every second of that. And we hear a lot of people, and we heard that today when we brought the first-timers in, are you going to do it again? And a lot of them said, I am, and I think I'm going to enjoy it even more. I'm going to look down or I'm going to look around and that type of thing. And you can see Mike is really hot dogging it up there.
I think he's the rope guys are having some fun with him because they're trying to keep him away from the building.
Yeah.
Looks like he's got a stuffed animal on his back there.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. It is. I wonder what that is. We saw Flat Stanley earlier on the back helmet of Levita Moffitt, a guidance counselor from William Penn High School. It was her 7-year-old daughter, Breeze, from school. And she told the story about how they were supposed to take it to New Orleans on a trip she and her husband, Drew, who also went over the edge, took, but they forgot Flat Stanley, and so the deal was they would then take Flat Stanley anywhere interesting. And it's safe to say there probably not have been a whole lot of Flat Stanleys that have rappelled 17 stories down the side of the building as Mike Vitale lands. And not sure, again, what the story is. You can hear he's got a lot of fans. The Wisfis Bank, the building that he works in, is 500 Delaware Avenue. We, of course, are at 300 Delaware Avenue, so there are a lot of employees from that Wisfis Bank who have ventured the 2 blocks down to cheer Mike on. As you see Nina finishing up her rappel as well. We're down to the final 6 people that pre-registered, and then there's an additional 4 people who came today and signed up who will be going over the edge as well. So we got 10 folks left. Estimated we probably, I think, will be on the air probably for about another hour. We are dedicated to staying on until that final person lands so that he or she gets the internet live access that we promised to have all our edgers. And Nina landing for the 3rd time. Just as much a thrill, I think, the 3rd time as the first time. She just told the technician, you could hear her say, "That's my 3rd." They get her unbelted, and people who have been watching this and have seen the landing area might wonder why they're rushing to get all that equipment off. And there's some of that, and this is just what I learned yesterday going through and sitting in on some of the meetings leading up to this. Some of that equipment, like the radio and 1 or 2 of the carabiners, they only have so many of, and so they've got to get that back upstairs. And so we actually have volunteers who are running that equipment right up. But we talked about how important it is for us to allow the edgers. You can see Nina kind of hamming it up and enjoying it, and that's exactly what she should do. And how the last thing, when you get down and you experience that thrill and you've got family and friends and supporters here, the last thing you want to do is be whisked up and away from them to take all that other equipment up. So what we decided that we would do is we would take off the gear that people that we had to get back up, the radio, and I'm not sure what else. One of the big carabiners I can see is missing from her. So there's 2 pieces of equipment that they need to get right back up because they have a limited supply of them because of for whatever reason, but that they wouldn't rush the people up. They have plenty of those harnesses, plenty of helmets, plenty of gloves, and they would allow them to actually just stay down and experience, the joy and the thrill of, hey, look what I just did, and now I'm going to get to sit back and enjoy it. We'll see who is coming up next. Here comes Corinne to let us know. I think that might be, looking at the name tag, might be Margo Marine from Brafman Family Dentistry. Getting ready to go down. She is going to go down on the yellow rope, as you can see. She looks kind of confident, but she is a first-timer. And then Ted River, who is a 4th-timer, is going to be going down on the blue rope. So you're going to have Margo Marine on yellow and Ted River on blue. Still to come, Ruth Lavelle, Sarah Jungling, Teresa Meyer, Sharon Moorhead, and then 4 additional people whose names we have not received yet who just signed up today. There's Ted Reaver. Ted and his wife, longtime supporters of Special Olympics. Ted is very active in the Lions Club, who are very active with Special Olympics Delaware in a variety of ways. His wife, Ann, is a supporter. She is here today at the bottom waiting for him. She helps head up the Lions' involvement in our Opening Eyes program, which is part of the Healthy Athletes program at the Summer Games. And as I mentioned, Ted has done this this will be his 4th time. I believe he's done it 4 straight years. I don't think he did it the first year, but I think he's done it 4 straight since then. Margo Marine's a dental hygienist at Braffin Family Dentistry down in Dagsboro. So made the long drive up here to take part in this. And several of their patients down there are athletes in Special Olympics, and she wants to start volunteering and decided that this would be a good way to get involved. She has been told that this initial step over the edge can be scary, but she's not worried or afraid, and she's looking forward to being here. She's doing help raise money for the Special Olympics athletes. She's also doing it in memory of her sister, Anna Jane Thompson, who devoted her career to working with people with special needs, and in honor of her patients who have disabilities, who brighten her day when they're there. However, her main focus is to honor not only the wonderful, inspiring, courageous athletes, but to honor with utmost respect and admiration their parents and families. And she wanted to thank everyone that donated to her cause. She's coming down to one of her sister's favorite songs, The Wind Beneath My Wings. At least that's the song that she requested. So that's a little bit about Margo Marine. Heading down for the first time over the edge, that's Ted Reiber, veteran one. You can see he's got the Lions Club t-shirt on, and coming down the 300 Delaware Avenue building here in Wilmington. 4 to go after this that we know, and then 4 more who came and signed up today.
So again, you can interact with us. Send us a tweet, #OverTheEdgeDE, or if you're watching here on Ustream, like 36 of you are, you can leave a comment there on the right side in the social stream. You can also post to Facebook at the bottom. Send a comment to somebody that you wish. And then remember, after this is all said and done, you can rewatch this broadcast in around 3-hour segments. So you can rewatch, have a laugh, enjoy it. If you are a edger who did not get to see them, well, you wouldn't get to see yourself because you were doing it, but you get to watch kind of how it looked from our perspective, and maybe from perspective of some loved ones that tuned on in to the broadcast, and maybe we're sitting outside as well.
Just got the official numbers. 85 edgers, which we've talked about, raised more than $125,000 for Special Olympics, and that's going to bring the total raised in 5 years to almost $600,000 for this event. So hats off and thank you to all the edgers who helped make that financial number possible. Just an incredible number when you think it's a one-day event. It's an all-day event, obviously, but to raise $125,000 really is just says a lot about the people that are part of this event today.
Where does this stack up with you guys in terms of the numbers of participants, the number of money against Polar Bear Plunge, against some of the other things?
Well, Polar Bear Plunge, we get almost 4,000 people involved in that, and the amount of money that was raised for that this year was roughly, and I don't remember the exact number, but I know it was right around a little bit over $800,000, and that's because of the number of people that generates. You know, just the
so
people
that's the big one.
That's the big one. The Polar Bear Plunge is the big one. You know, that's kind of our anchor fundraising event. But then when you look at some of the other events that we do, we have, you know, the reindeer run that we do in the fall, we have the truck convoy, we have the ride to the tide, we have this over the edge event, we have a golf event in the fall at Bitterman Golf Course. And what we try to do is we've tried to develop fundraising events that are unique.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and you might say, well, that golf tournament's unique. Well, it is, because what happens at that golf tournament is that every foursome gets to play 3 holes with a Special Olympics athlete and use their ball if that becomes a shot that they want to take. And so that's the uniqueness of that event. It's also played at Bitterman Country Club, which is one of the most exclusive clubs in the state of Delaware to get on. It's virtually almost impossible to get on unless you either know a member, of which there's only a handful, or you play in a tournament like that. And somebody might say, well, your reindeer run is just a 5K. Well, no, it's not. It's at night. and it's toward the winter, and it's on a candlelit course or a luminary lit course. And so there's a uniqueness of that event. Well, during the holidays, as you can see, Ted River making his final descent there. He's in a sort of a horizontal position, and you heard Nancy Gallagher, you probably didn't hear, as the changeover of people listening to the broadcast changes constantly, we know, talk about how it is tough to stay upright because it's like doing a constant sit-up on the way down, and then once you get over like Ted did there at the end, it's tough to get up because you're not on the floor doing a sit-up, you're in midair trying to do it. But you can see Ted is all smiles going there, and there are no age parameters as long as you're age 18 to do this event. The oldest person to do it was Winnie Spence, a longtime board member of Special Olympics who was 82 at the time he did it, and we've had a lot of 18-year-olds do it. And we've had a lot of 16 or 17-year-olds who want to do it. And so we're confident that eventually they will turn 18. And unfortunately, there's no wavering on that age. You're either 18 today or you're not. And if you're not 18, you can't do it. It doesn't matter whether you're 6'6" and 280 pounds. You can't do it if you're not 18 years old. From a weight standpoint, you have to be at least 100 pounds, and you can't weigh more than 300 pounds for safety reasons. And we talked earlier in the broadcast, Jimmy, I liken that rule to the pilot during bad weather when he decides we're going to stay on the runway. Sir, if you decide it's dangerous, it's your call.
Yep.
Same thing here when it comes to weight, whether it's under 100 pounds or over 300. You can see Ted chatting with family and friends there as he gets his gear off, and another successful, his fourth descent down the side of the building. So still to come, Ruth Lavelle, Sarah Jungling, Teresa Meyer, and Sharon Moorhead. Margo Marine still on the side of the building there.
We just got a post here on the social stream from Flip Meg Flop. She says good luck to her mother-in-law, Sharon Moorhead. She'll be watching from Florida. Sharon, from what we understand, at least as the schedule goes, will be the last of the Edgers. Yes,
according to the schedule. That could change slightly. What they don't do is they don't send people down earlier than they are scheduled to go. We're approaching 4:20, which is when the last person was scheduled to go. So that's not going to happen no matter what. So Sharon will be the last regular. When I say regular, the person who pre-signed up. Ruth Lavelle is going to follow Margo Marine on the yellow rope, and Carly Block, who was our first add-on, is going to be on the blue rope. So Margo Marine is finishing up, and she's going to be followed by Ruth Lavelle. If that last name rings a bell, Ruth is the wife of Greg Lavelle, local politician who has done the Over the Edge event, just was not available to do so this year. So Ruth stepped in and is going to do it. She has done it for is doing it for the fourth time. So we appreciate her coming up and doing it, being part of this exciting event. As you can see, Margo Marine finishing up her first rappel here.
Well, Carly will be, as you mentioned, our first walk-up, so possibly maybe get a chance to get her in here and hear about, what the process was for her internally to think about doing such a thing and then actually partaking in it. So we'll have a couple others sprinkled in there. I believe the number is 3.
Yes.
Because there was 82. Now we're at 85 is the number that you've been given.
Right.
For total. So 3 walk-ups. Carly will be the first, so it'll be great to hear kind of what their thought process was to get involved. But Ruth Lavelle will be on the left. She'll be in the yellow, on the yellow rope, rather. And then Carly Block, our first walk-up today, will be on the blue rope.
And so Margo Marine at the bottom. She will be one of 85 edgers to raise over $125,000 for Special Olympics throughout the day. If you are interested in doing this event this year and you want to commit yourself now, knowing that you'll be more committed if you're committed now, it's a $50 deposit. You can go to SODE.org, click on the Over the Edge banner at the bottom of the page. It will take you to the landing page for Over the Edge, and you will see a very visible link to register for 2015. As Margo looks like she had a good first experience coming down for her first time. Somebody greeting her, a family member there of some sort, and congratulating her, and gives Ted River a hug. And that's kind of a neat thing because I'm going to assume the two of them didn't know each other heading into this. I could be wrong, but the fact that she's from Dagsboro, and I know Ted is from up here in the Wilmington area. Now, they could be Lions Club members. That could be the case. I'm not sure, but sometimes. And she had said in her bio, one of the things Margo did that she was looking forward to was meeting some of the other edgers. So she seems to be one of those real personable, extroverted, outgoing people. And so good for her, and that's kind of neat to see. And there you see Ruth Lavelle and Carly Block.
Carly's on the left. Ruth on the right. The graphic right now is flipped. It's made for when they're on the rope, and we're seeing it from down on the bottom. But the two of them are heading up. There's Carly as she's woke up this morning and did not have this planned, maybe, most likely. But there she is. A handwritten name tag there.
That proves you're a walk-up.
Welcome to the party. You are allowed. We'll handwrite as many as we can, up to 100.
That's
We've
right.
got 15 more spots if you want to rush on down here and walk down a building.
And looking through my list, I think actually every single person did go. I thought there was one person whose name we didn't hear, but that isn't the case. So it is either 3 or 4 walk-ups. We'll find out. We've been told 4, but you're right, Jimmy. If we're saying 85, the math tells us it's 3, but we will find. There you see the secure system. You can see the number of ropes and gadgets and carabiners. That's the name of that clip, they call it, that keep people safe and sound when they go down and do this. So Carly Block and Ruth Lavelle will be heading down. That's Ruth Lavelle right there. She's a 4-year veteran, or this will be her 4th year. And you can kind of tell she's got that swag about her a little bit. It's not a cockiness, but it's, I've done this before.
It's confidence.
I know the feeling, but, as everybody's told us who has done this before, there's still that, it's at this moment where you still have, your blood pressure's up and your heart's racing because you're getting ready to step off a building that is 17 stories away to when you land. And so you, as confident as you are and as safe as it is, there's always that feeling when you first sit back and you feel yourself that, there you are. You're safe and you're ready to go. So Ruth and Carly getting ready to go. And I do hope we can get Carly in here to talk about what it was that made her want to do this today, made her willing to write the check for $1,100 unless somebody else did. As we've talked about, this is the type of event that isn't tough to raise money for. And I don't want to underplay the efforts of the people by any stretch of the imagination, but it is one of those events where you tell them, hey, I'm going to rappel 17 stories down a building for a good cause. And the first thing people do are saying, well, I'll support that.
Yep.
How much money do you need or whatever? And so I know when I sent it out to people, they were very gracious in supporting me, whether it was by Facebook or an email list that I have. They were all excited that I was doing it, excited that they were going to be able to see pictures of it. Again, yesterday's media day, we didn't do the live stream, but my colleague Ruth Coughlin made sure to get a lot of pictures. Corinne got some video. My wife was here on the ground, and so I had some neat pictures to post on Facebook, and people enjoy seeing that. And I even challenged a few of my friends to do it with me next year, or to do it again next year. We'll see whether they come through and do it or not. But that's how an event like this builds, as you see Carly on the right and Ruth on the left making their way down. Big step by Ruth there, and that is the first step. It's actually, I look at this as a 4-step process. There's that step when you're up there and you got to take the seat back, and you got to trust the rope, you got to trust the equipment. Then there's that step from the ledge onto the glass. And then there's the rhythm that you get into is the 3rd step. And then the 4th step is finally when you have that confidence that, I'm going to do this. B, now I'm going to enjoy it. And C, it is going like it is supposed to go. So at least that was my experience with a step of the process. And I guess the 5th step would be when you do finally land or get to the ledge. I think the ledge part is the neatest. That's when you kind of see people
it gets
let
a little
go.
More free fall,
right.
Around that point.
And I don't mean let go, they don't let the rope go, but they let go of their emotions, whether it's waving or whatever it is, smiling, people can hear you. And, I'm trying to remember, there wasn't the noise that there is at the bottom when I did this yesterday, so it was probably harder for me to hear what was going on the bottom.
Yeah, and I have wondered that. At what point do you start to hear the DJ? At what point do you start hearing cheers?
Yeah.
Is it from the top?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe not.
Yeah, we'll ask that question if we get somebody in here. The music obviously would be the loudest thing you could hear,
Right.
and then you could hear cheers. And then at what point can you clearly hear somebody yelling to you, whether it's "Hi, Daddy" or "Good job, Justin" or whatever it might
Right.
be? When is that clear? Is it the 5th floor, the 4th floor?
And we haven't seen too many people, freeze midway through.
No.
You normally won't midway through.
No, and somebody might be saying, well, what would happen if that happened? Well, then the technicians take over and they actually lower you. We talked about that
Right.
parent lock that happens, and so they actually have control. That's what that blue rope or the rope on the right is, that they're controlling with their right hand, or they're manipulating with their right hand. That is the tech's rope. That's the one that locks up if you go too fast. It's also the one that they would lower you with manually if somebody did freeze up there. And I'm trying to remember, I don't think in the 5 years we've had anybody who has frozen when they've been up there part way. People have locked up. We discussed that. That's
Right.
part of the process.
Right.
You go too fast, you lock up. We've talked to people that have done this 5 years and they locked up. And people who have done it for the first year and didn't lock up. I was one of those people yesterday. So it really is just a matter of the tension of the lever that you're pulling on, which is different than the one that they used the first couple years they did this, where it was actually more of a squeeze process that you did, and it was actually harder to get yourself going. This, it's easier to get yourself going, but then it can also cause you to go too fast as well and lock up. Ruth Lavelle on the left, Carly Block on the right there. And we hope to talk to Carly and find out what it was that motivated her to come out of the blue, for lack of a better term, today and sign up to go over the edge and make sure that she could add this to her, we assume, to her bucket list of some sort. And we'll find out maybe when she comes in.
Making some good time, so felt pretty strongly about this and for strongly about herself.
Yeah, I would think this is one of those things, if you decide to do it on the day of the event, you must be pretty confident that you can do it without any problems. Or you decide, if I don't write them a check and do it right now, I might never do it.
Correct.
You get caught up in the moment.
Correct. Sometimes good or bad decisions are made very quickly.
Yes.
And I'm sure she has the forethought. Maybe is second-guessing that at some point here, but seems to be doing all right.
Yeah, swinging away a little bit. We saw Mike Vitale when he came down. He was swinging away, spinning,
bumping
doing
into the
push-ups off the building.
Yeah.
And
hey, have fun. It's your moment.
Yeah, that's right.
Your
There they go,
moment.
waving.
There we go. They must be all right.
Now, what I don't know, whether they're friends. That could be a case too, and that might explain why Carly's going down before the last people who were scheduled to do.
Right.
It might have been, I'm willing to go down, I want to go down, but I need to go down or want to go down with Ruth Lavelle. That might be the case too.
Right.
We'll
I think she's cutting the line technically, but
right.
I think Sarah, Teresa, Sharon, those are the next three that are lined up. Probably said, okay,
yeah, right,
sure. I need a couple more minutes. Let's do that way. Cool. And then you can go with Ruth, and you're all right.
Yep. At this point, you're going down. The difference of 5, 10, 15 minutes isn't going to make a whole lot of difference. Again, is former board president Tom Moore on the left, whose daughter Tori competes in Special Olympics. She was at the USA Games this summer in New Jersey as a swimmer. Won at least one gold medal, I know. I don't recognize any of the other folks there in that photo with Tom, other than I know they're not his family members. So Tom here just supporting and watching people come down. As you see Carly on the right and Ruth on the left. They've got themselves turned around, and I think that is something I would do the second time when I got to about where they are now, is I would turn around.
Yeah.
I kind of stuck to the wall until I got to the ledge, and you're more or less forced to turn around because they guide you down with the rope. But I think once I got around down to the 5th floor, I would turn around a little bit and enjoy the scenery a little bit more.
Avoiding the ledge right there.
Yep. And
over
again,
the ledge.
The nice part is you don't have to do anything except keep moving.
That's
they
right.
pull you right away from it, as you can see there.
So Carly and Ruth have made it all the way down and have 5 more edgers to go here. Mind you can tweet in #OverTheEdge DE if you want to see your tweet on the live stream. Please send it our way. You can also put a comment on the right side, that social stream here on Ustream. And your wife says we sound great. So awesome.
Thank you to her. Was that a tweet or what's that?
She was just on the page.
Oh, okay.
Sending
I was going to say she doesn't have a Twitter account that I know about.
Oh, uh-oh.
Appreciate her giving us a shout out. She was here with us earlier. She helped raise all the money for the William Penn crew, or most of the money for the William Penn crew. A lot of the money for them to come down. Part of the Project Unify group that she heads up. She's also heads up the Colonial School District basketball event that we do at William Penn. So has become a big part of Special Olympics since we were married almost 10 years ago. They're the Lavells. That's their son who is in Special Olympics. Matthew Lavelle is a Special Olympics athlete. And so certainly doing it.
Seems
for
to know
a great
Carly.
cause.
So, yeah, I think you might be right. Carly and Ruth probably good friends.
There. Yeah. So we're signing up there. We got.
It's going to be Teresa Mayer. She'll be on the blue rope.
Okay. And nobody on the yellow yet. So Sarah Jungling, Teresa Mayer, Sharon Moorhead, 3 who pre-registered yet to go, and then we either have 2 or 3 more who have signed up. There you see Teresa getting herself all hooked up. She is a first-time rappeller, first-time edger. She works for the Adidas Futures Group. She is the friend of a Special Olympics athlete, doing it to support this wonderful organization and community. Wants to thank all her friends, family, and colleagues who supported her. So getting ready to go over for the first time. You can see the safety check they're doing. That's Tim White. I've mentioned him a couple times during the broadcast. He's the senior tech guy. He is responsible for the safety of every event Over the Edge does. Of course, he can't be at every event. We are thrilled that he is here. In the 5 years, he has been here several years. He did, I believe, miss 1 year for some reason, probably at a different event. But we were thrilled to have him back, and he has a great team. They come in on Tuesday. They set the site up on Wednesday. They have all kinds of safety meetings and site checks. And then Media Day happens on Wednesday afternoon. Again, we thank Sarah from Eagle 97.7, Dana McDonald from Cool 101.3, Sabrina Sabia from 93.7 WSTW, and Bob Craig, a former photographer for the Wilmington News Journal, who all went over yesterday on Media Day, along with myself. We appreciate the coverage that those media folks give us leading up to, and then after the event. I'm sure Dana and Sabrina and Sarah were all talking about their experience today on the air, and maybe encouraged a few of their listeners to come out and do it next year. So Teresa Mayer there.
That's Teresa, and Sarah Jungling is the other.
Okay, Sarah's going to be coming up. Comes Corinne. Corinne's done a great job for us all day.
We're beating her to the punch now
Yep.
because we got the camera on top of the building and I'm able to read name tags. But thank you. Verification is always important.
That's right.
So there's Teresa. She makes her way down.
Can hear the crowd. People cheering for Teresa again with the Adidas Futures Group, a first-timer. And Sarah is a University of Delaware student, so she does make that, assuming she has a younger sister, Morgan Jungling, who is an athlete with Special Olympics, and Sarah has been a unified partner for about 10 years now. So she must have, based on, she looks pretty young and she's a UD student, she must have been a unified partner at a very young age. I think she was part of the Newark Lightning team, which has now affiliated into the Newark Dragons, one of the 5 area teams. And so if you are new to Special Olympics, or obviously just tuning in to support somebody going over the edge, don't know much about Special Olympics, in Delaware we have 3,700 children and adults with intellectual disabilities, as well as hundreds of unified partners like Sarah is, who compete with or alongside the Special Olympics athletes. They're involved in schools. We also have area programs, 5 of them: Wilmington, Newark, Middletown, Odessa, Townsend, and Smyrna is also included in that. And then Kent County, and Sussex County. As you can see, Teresa making her way down. She's about a quarter of the way down at this 17-story building, 222 feet, the 300 Delaware Avenue building in Wilmington, owned and managed by Brandywine Realty Trust. Larry Meister got involved with us early on when we came and wanted to do this event here, and since then has become a member of the board of directors of Special Olympics Delaware, very committed to the organization. Kind of a neat story, somebody who was not affiliated with Special Olympics at all until this Over the Edge event started, and has been gracious to basically give us just about everything we asked for in this $300 Avenue building. And as we talked about earlier, when you decide you want to do this event, it's not a one-year type of thing. The amount of effort and work that goes into building the structures that go on at the top of the building to make this such a safe event is a process. And so it was done, and we were thrilled that this is the 5th year. We raised $125,000 this year, bringing the total amount raised in 5 years to nearly $600,000 to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. And again, if you are interested in learning more about Special Olympics, go to the website there on the lower right-hand corner of your screen, SODE.org. Whether it's to volunteer, become a unified partner, get your child involved as a Special Olympics athlete, learn about our other fundraisers, or if you're watching this and it has inspired you to make a financial donation, you can do that too. There's a blue Donate Now button at the top of the website. Just click on that. All the money stays right here in the state of Delaware to benefit those 3,700 athletes and more than 4,000 volunteers that are part of this program. As you see, Teresa making her landing. That's her first time. She's got a smile on her face. Wave to the crowd. Looks like she enjoyed the experience and kind of stopped herself there just to hang in midair. Kind of a good feeling.
Yeah, that's that sense of accomplishment. We've seen everybody, different versions of it all day. The turn and smile, the don't turn and smile, don't look at me. This was very nerve-wracking. But the accomplishment around that point right there is what you really kind of do it for. And there's Sarah. She begins her trek down. We'll see who will be joining her on that blue rope to her right. But a gritting of the teeth, biting of the lip there.
Yep.
Trust the equipment.
Yep, she's got their legs straight out. I said that's one of the toughest things to do when they tell you want to make an L and keep those legs out and you're trying to get that lever going. We talked about that. That's what she's got in her left hand. To those of you watching, it looks like it's her right hand that's making her move, but that's not the case. It's her left hand that's pulling down on the lever as Teresa poses for a picture there with the two techs at the bottom. And, we can't thank the volunteers enough who come out. Obviously, the Over the Edge crew is here. They fly in to take part of this event, but one of the requirements they have when they come do this event is that we provide a certain number of volunteers who have some sort of rappelling experience. And so the folks that you see in the blue shirts, they are the volunteers for this event, and a lot of them have experience. They come from different places like the Delaware Rock Wall Gym, those types of places. And that's Matt, I think, actually right there with his back to us from the Delaware Rock Gym. And so we appreciate their efforts and what they do for us. And it looks like another one of our edgers there. That actually might be one of the walk-ups.
That's an add-on because Sharon Moorhead is the only one registered, or rather not day of registered. Right. Last name's Watts. First name is Paul, and he's still in his dress clothes.
So it might be one of those things where he came right from work and came over at lunchtime and said, what do I got to do? And who knows, maybe he went back to his company and got 100 people to give him $10 or whatever it would be. 11 people, 111 people, whatever the math is. Too late in the day to figure that out. But $1,100. He got $1,100. Let's leave it at that, however he did it. And we thank Paul for doing that. I can say I think we've had at least 1 or 2 walk-ups every year. This is the first year we've had 3, possibly 4. That we will have, and so we are excited about that. And again, if you're watching this and thinking, boy, I'd really like to get to do this next year, you can go to the Special Olympics website at SODE.org, click on the Register for 2016 event, and go ahead and get yourself signed up. It's a $50 deposit that goes towards your $1,100, and from that you can then fundraise after that, and you can continue to raise money. And there is Sarah's sister, Morgan, Morgan, if you're on Facebook and you follow Special Olympics, Wilmington's Facebook page, you've probably seen Morgan post. She's a big social media person.
Oh, yeah. She's big with all the Blue Hens teams as well.
Exactly. She's a huge fan, a huge Kayla Miller fan, a huge Elena Deladon fan. And so Morgan is as big a fan as she is a Special Olympics athlete. And watching her sister Sarah come down, you can see her assisting with the rope there at the bottom. So exciting for her to see. And I know my son was excited. One of my 3 sons was able to come watch yesterday, and I know Tyler was very excited to get to do so. Riley wasn't able to. He was at a lacrosse practice, but I know Tyler, it was very gratifying to look down when I got closer and see his smiling face and him waving to me, and I posed for a picture with him afterward. It was just kind of a neat father-son time, and so it's always fun to watch these kids at the bottom, or in Morgan's case, she is an adult. I shouldn't call her a kid, but she is watching her sibling come down, and the kind of the relief that happens. There's the Great American Party DJ, who's been here with us all day. Long day for him. He didn't get to go to commercial break.
No, he did
a
not.
Couple times,
yeah, so tip of the cap to that guy. I'm sure he's eaten, but
yes.
I've eaten lunch. I've gone to the bathroom.
Right.
I've not talked for a little bit. I've not talked more than you have not talked. You've been doing a lot of great interviews. But we're getting down the stretch here as we got 2 more groups of 2, I believe.
And there's Paul Watts slowly making his way down. As you pointed out, he's in his dress clothes. Whoop, and there he goes. And once you get going, you go.
And there he goes.
That's a neat camera angle. Then again, that's your favorite one, Jimmy. That's I-95 in the
95
background.
right there.
There's no traffic. Amazing.
Well, give it some time.
I wonder what stretch that is.
Give it some time.
So there you get an example of the tripod. We've shown the tripod several times where they come down. There's Sarah on the left making her way down. And the tripod, they actually mimic that. There's 2 of them there for the ropes that they use for the 17 stories, but they put the exact same setup up on the overhead, on the structure that's on the top of the building where you do your practice rappel. And so everybody goes through a practice rappel, and we continue to talk about the safety and how good the techs are. There's 2 people left to go up on the building there.
That's Sharon on the right. Sharon Moorhead's the last one, and then the one on the left will be our last walk-up, I believe. Waiting to see a name tag.
Yeah, we'll see if there's anybody
Slide,
after
take
that.
a little step forward for me. Do something forward. Take a look.
And you can see how they're keeping them away from the side of the building, even though they're safely up there, as Paul's making his way down. He's about 3 stories behind Sarah. Sarah confident enough to wave.
Last name looks like Fogel, F-O-G-A-L. So he's now not cooperating with me here.
Turn to your left, turn to your right.
All right, well, we'll get it.
Yep, there we go.
Jessica, there we go. All right, hey, good work.
And we'll find out what rope she's coming down, and they'll be coming down after both of the Sarah and Paul make it to the bottom, and then either that next group will be the last group, or we may have 1 walk-up. We're not sure. We were told originally 4 walk-ups, and then the math we did didn't equate to that. It equated
there's 82
right.
when we came in this morning.
Yep.
And then the total number that you were handed was 85 edgers, raising over $125,000. So 82, 85, difference there of 3. So 3 walk-ups, which is still not anything to be
it's great.
angry about, because, again, this is somebody who woke up this morning, wasn't going to spend or donate, rather, is a better way to say it, $1,100 to walk down a building, and then they did. And think yourself, would I go, hey, $1,100, let's go down a building? But without, mental preparation and things like that.
Right.
In this case, there were 3 individuals that thought it was a great idea, and Paul Watts, there he is one of them.
Yeah, and he's not hesitating to come down. I think, is that the ledge he's at almost?
Yeah, he is flying.
Yeah, so he came down quick.
Sarah has been kind of lapped twice now. She's taken her time.
Well, she's getting her money's worth.
Hey, that's probably what I would be doing.
When I'm on the golf course, that's why I take so many swings.
That's right.
I want to get my
value.
Value of the dollar. That's right. And so there is Paul Watts. Special thanks to him for joining us today The second of what will either be 3 or 4 walk-ups. I'm trying to get confirmation one way or the other. We will make sure we stay on the air till the final person lands, and it'll either be after the final 2 people or not. Once again, I'm John Busby along with Jimmy Smith. We are wrapping up coverage of the Over the Edge event to benefit Special Olympics Delaware. We came on the air at 9 o'clock. When it's all said and done, there's going to be 85 people who have raised at least $1,100 to be part of this great event, which this year has raised more than $125,000, bringing the total raised to nearly $600,000 in the event's 5-year history. It's all to benefit Special Olympics Delaware, which is an organization that provides sports training and competition for more than 3,700 athletes and unified partners who compete in 20 sports year-round. The Big Special Olympics Summer Games coming up June 12th and 13th at the University of Delaware. You can find out more information about that on our website, sode.org. The athletes will be competing in the sports of track and field, tennis, aquatics, bocce, powerlifting, and softball. 6 sports. It's an overnight experience at the University of Delaware for a lot of the athletes. Some of the athletes commute to the games. There's a grand opening ceremony at 12:30 on Friday at the Bob Carpenter Center. It is completely free and completely open to the public. We hope to pack the Bob Carpenter Center. It's the first time in 45 years, this being the 45th Summer Games, that the opening ceremony is going to be held on Friday in the afternoon at 12:30. So as we wind down our coverage here, we saw Paul Watts land. Sarah Jungling is on her way, and we've got 2 more folks. One of them, Sharon Moorhead, and another walk-up, Jessica Fogel. We decided, I think her last name was
Fogal is what I saw.
Fogel is going to be coming down, and so we appreciate her making this effort. Now, this is another question I'm going to wonder whether or not she's a friend of Sharon's. They've got the same top on. Now, it doesn't automatically make you friends, but you still wonder, it'd be kind of like...
peer pressure is a thing only your friends can do.
Exactly,
to you, so
exactly.
I think that's a good guess. We saw that earlier today with Carly.
Yep.
Paul really seems to be the only one that kind of came out of nowhere. And
Sarah's locked up. There she goes. She got unlocked very quickly and making a thing. And that's Morgan, Sarah's sister. And they compete together in sports. Sarah's been a unified partner since she was very young, part of the original Newark Dragons team. Newark Lightning team, which now has basically become the Newark Dragons, one of 5 area programs statewide in Special Olympics. And you can see the safety feature. They did ask Morgan to step outside the landing area.
She just wanted to be with Sarah really badly, and it's
we've credited the techs for what they've done as they assist her pose for a picture there. And the other thing I was going to mention earlier, that they do that practice rappel up on the building,
right.
And they make you do that whether you've done this 1 time or 5 times. You go through that process, and there's Morgan and Sarah's mother, big supporters of her daughters. I'm sure supported Sarah financially, and of course has supported her daughters in a lot of ways. So Sarah is going to head out of the bullpen area there and go there.
All right, well, John is going to step away here, is going to try to track down Paul Watts. I think that he would be a great interview, and I made that suggestion. He agreed and was off in a flash. So down to our final 2 here, as Sharon Moorhead and Jessica Fogel will be rappelling down. There's Sharon. So she'll be coming down on the yellow rope. And a little bit about her is find her bio page. She is retired. Son Donnie has been a volunteer with Special Olympics in the past. Never gone over the edge. This is her first time. Really looking forward to it. So, and kind of an inspirational story for her. She said her husband passed away suddenly in January at 64.
Wow.
And that's made her realize that life can be uncertain and short, and she shouldn't put things off. And so here's something on her bucket list that she wanted to do. It's a chance for her to raise money for a wonderful cause at the same time.
All right, and I have confirmed that these are the 2 last edgers of the day. So these 2 are going to go down, and that's going to be it. And, you talk about it from a time standpoint. These are the last 2 edgers going down.
I just want to verify spelling for Jessica.
Yeah, if you could give us Jessica's spelling so we get it right on the thing there. Sharon Moorhead is one, and Jessica Fogel is going to be the other one heading down. And so
got it.
We
Perfect.
are, excited to say that these are the last 2 edgers. 85 people, $125,000. We're going to watch them go as far down. We're going to watch them land. And then we'll be signing off as that will officially mark the conclusion of the event. Jimmy, what do our numbers look like over there on the live stream?
Well, I'll start with the big number, the one that everybody's really proud about, 3,984. We are 16 away from 4,000 people over the 2 years tuning in. This year, the number, I got to click a couple times on the internet. I apologize.
Yep.
Trying not to bog down the internet by running these things all this time. But the number today, 1,909 have tuned in.
Wow, so almost 2,000 people. That's fantastic. And we hope you've enjoyed, if you're tuned in right now, we're toward the end of the broadcast. These are the final 2 folks going over. We've been on the air since 9 o'clock this morning. And again, like last year, we said, Jimmy, the time went fast. I have to admit, it's hard to believe it's almost 5 o'clock, and we've been on the air 8 hours.
Yeah, I haven't really left the room very much. Been here on the air with you, and I think that it's been a good 8 hours spent. We're 8 hours 13 minutes into this thing, and so it's been fantastic. And for us, we're in the sigh of relief stage. We're on the ledge, so to speak. We're ready to kick down and maybe let that carabiner out and hit the floor here. Has this been another great broadcast, another great thing? And a little bragging point for you guys as well as us is this is the only Over the Edge event being broadcast, but it's also the only Special Olympics Over the Edge event being broadcast.
Yeah.
So now Over the Edge is not just a Special Olympics thing. It's corporate parties, things like that. But this is the only Over the Edge event being carried live, and it's the only Special Olympics Over the Edge event being carried at all, let alone start to finish.
Right.
So I think that's really incredible as well.
Yeah, there might be crews that show video. They take video and they show it on a YouTube or something, but it's bits and pieces. It's not start to finish like this. And
easy stuff.
And we think this is just a great opportunity for people who raise the money for Special Olympics. And, as we talked about, this is one of those events that's a unique fundraising event, and one that if you're going to do, you want people to be able to see you do it. If they can't be here live, you want them to be able to see you do it live somehow. And that's what we've tried to do, is provide that opportunity. And I already know there's a lot of people who have told me and asked. I've gotten text messages. I got asked last night when people were at the cocktail reception, are you recording this? Because I've got people at home who can't watch it during work or don't work in places where there are computers and access to the internet. And the answer to that question is yes, it will be on the website. And you do a great job of making it so people can watch it in pieces. You don't have to sit and watch 8 hours.
Yeah, and that's another, YouTube obviously is not going to take an 8-hour video.
Right.
So we broke it into pieces so it's a little more consumable by them on the technological side, but also by fans. They can, kind of interact. I mean, we could break it into 85 different clips of people going, but that's not really feasible.
Right.
So we got about 3-hour pieces for people to watch, and we'll have those up. I would like to think, I don't want to make any promises, it could be up by the end of this weekend for everybody to watch. And so, very excited. Got a compliment there for BL Smith 800. Had her a couple times with some comments. She said, great job to everybody involved with the stream, so thank you. We're super excited about how this has turned out, and unofficially have agreed to do it again next year, it sounds like, so that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
I know that there were running around some people this afternoon that came in and took a look at the broadcast, and I know that we were shared that there were some emails being passed around, and so we're really excited to pair with you guys and do this. And I'm excited to kind of be in this role because I spent all my college calling games. I don't get to call a lot. I leave that to a lot of my students to do. So this is fun to kind of hop on here and just have fun with you for 8 hours. And Also, still be in reach of
you're
hit buttons if I
you're
need
still
to.
in control of everything.
Things like that.
It's fascinating for me to watch.
Yeah.
And, I've enjoyed seeing the production side of this. As you mentioned, I'm on the radio, but I don't see the production side of anything like this. I'm told in my ear this is what we're doing and what you're saying and that type of stuff. So I certainly appreciate you coming on the air and being part of it like you did last year. It helps me tremendously and I think adds to the broadcast. And special thanks to all your folks who are here with us today. Nina Raspa, Mike Windley, Andrew Wickman, Sam Schwartz, Kyle Coulter, Richie Raspa, and Aaron Anderson, who were all part of this broadcast.
And so for this group here, Nina is a former student who's now my full-time assistant. Mike Windley, sitting to my right now, he's producing, taking a little bit of a break here. He's a senior that's graduating. Andrew Wickman is a sophomore who's rising to be a sophomore. So another one that's been with us for a long time, Sam Schwartz. You actually saw him. He's the only one you've seen in the broadcast because his camera.
Yeah,
he was in
a
camera shot. Yep. He's a graduating senior as well. Kyle Coulter is a rising senior. Richie Raspa is actually Nina's brother. Yep. He's a rising senior. Aaron Anderson, rising senior as well. He's actually a student at Wilmington University, but found us and found our department and our program, which is all student-run with the exception of Nina and I, and emailed and wanted to get involved. And so I was like, absolutely, let's do this.
Great.
So our department is the multimedia department at the University of Delaware. We call ourselves Hens All Access,
right?
Because that's what our video output is called. But we are excited to get involved with things like this and kind of get out and get a little change of pace. There's no bats, there's no balls, there's no cleats, there's no gloves. It's a little different. And pardon me, it also gives my guys a chance to do some things. Sports are so fast. This is a little bit slower, and it's a little more artistic because there's somebody's being a little too artsy. As they have a little bit of fun, shooting stoplights and trying to be creative. Like this shot, very creative with the light pole in there, and so people trying to be a little more creative, and it's a lot of fun. And so for me, it's a great proving ground, and I hope everybody enjoyed. This is being done by college students, and I stand behind it because I think they do a great job.
They do, and unbelievable. We get compliments all the time after the last event. Even months after, people were complimenting us because somebody would say, "I finally sat down and was able to watch it," and we're so thrilled. That
I was going to say, I remember Paul's name, and I couldn't remember why. Paul, good to see you, bud.
Well, glad to be here again.
Glad to have you. What? I was going to say, we didn't remember the correlation, but you woke up this morning, you weren't walking down a building, and then you were walking down a building.
Yeah, it was kind of a game day decision on our part. So
Paul, last year, the reason I got so excited, on a technical end, helped really make this thing go last year, and then made me not have to worry so much this year. We really walked in and nailed this thing. But thank you so much for hopping on the building and then hopping on the broadcast. What was that like? Kind of what triggered you to do it?
Well, it was kind of a last-minute decision. We really didn't realize. We realized kind of, we didn't put somebody on the list for this year. So
you're still in your workplace.
I drew the short straws.
And you're with Brandywine Realty Trust,
yes.
Just to clarify, and one of the three sponsors, along with TD Bank and Newcastle County Fire Service. So as you see, our final two edgers hit the ground, Jessica, and hit again. I used the wrong term. Land softly on the ground. Jessica and Sharon to wrap up this year's event. And Paul, what was it like for you when you finally got to that point? You've never done this before. Correct?
I haven't.
So first time.
But it was a wonderful experience, and I highly would encourage anyone who has any kind of desire to do something similar to this.
Right.
Give it a try. I mean, it's well worth it. It goes for a wonderful cause. You can't ask for a better view. So,
have you been on the roof as an employee here before this? So you've seen the view. What was it like with that first lean back?
It's a little awkward, but you just gotta you guys are seasoned pros with this, and you've just gotta trust the equipment because it's there for your safety. So it's a great cause, great experience, and it's definitely something that everybody should take. Well, do it at least once.
And you've done it once. And
that's right.
Maybe do it again. We'll see down the road. Well, listen, we appreciate you stopping by. I know Jimmy appreciates all the help with everything that you've done to make this go so smooth.
Thank you guys again. The room's fantastic. I know it's not built for this, but it's perfect for this.
Well,
so
it's our pleasure, and we really enjoy partnering with you guys to for such a good cause. I mean, it's when you see the end result, when you see the smiles on the kids' face, it's really what makes it worth it. So.
Well, thanks again for being part of the event, and thanks for stopping by afterward. We appreciate that.
We appreciate it. You guys Great job again.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Paul.
Paul.
Take care.
We'll see you next year.
And the most gratifying graphic of the day is up. We're done. And that's how much money was raised.
Wow, there you go. And for Special Olympics Delaware. And so we are excited about this event. The event has ended officially. The final 2 people have landed. And so, again, 85 edgers raising $125,000 for Special
I'm sorry,
Olympics.
I wrote 185. That's my bad.
That's
Is
all right.
it 25?
Yeah, $125,000. 85. You're thinking 85 edgers
I
is
know,
what you were
sorry,
thinking.
man.
So, and then all of a sudden,
I'm so proud of
I
that.
couldn't even see that far. So, more than almost $600,000 has been raised in the 5 years of this event. Again, a special thanks to our sponsors, TD Bank, Brandywine Realty Trust, Newcastle County Fire Service. Special thanks to all the volunteers that helped make today possible. All the text from Over the Edge, the company that puts on this production. Jimmy and his crew, again, Nina Raspa, Mike Winley, Andrew Wickman, Sam Schwartz, Kyle Coulter, Richie Raspa, Aaron Anderson, and to most importantly to the 85 people who raised at least $1,100 to go over the edge for the 3,700 children and adults who proudly call themselves Special Olympics athletes. Special Olympics Delaware, 3,700 athletes in the state of Delaware. If you want more information on how you can become involved, how you can contribute, go to SODE.org. Year number 5 is in the books. Jimmy, I can't thank you enough, not only for the production, but for being part of the broadcast crew. We hope you guys had a great time, and we'll see some of them back next year.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you guys very much. We'll work to get the broadcast up in its small pieces, relatively large pieces, up as soon as we can here. And thank you, everybody that tuned in. The total number, we just hit 4,000
there you go.
on the dot.
Great.
Over the 2 years, so that's fantastic.
Great, that's wonderful. We're thrilled about that. We are excited. We're already looking at plans for next year to come back and do this live stream so that people who gave and were part of this event indirectly by donating to people coming down can see them do it, whether it's live or whether it's recorded when we get it posted on the website. So that's going to do it from here at the 300 Delaware Avenue building in Wilmington. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. For Jimmy Smith, I'm John Busby. Thanks for being part of Special Olympics Delaware.